everybody, this is Diana from So Very Crafty, and today we are here to make this fantastic reversible chemotherapy hat for those chemotherapy patients who really need them. This is a super simple beginner sewing project that anybody with basic sewing skills can make. I will put the link of the pattern in the comments below, but it is a fun and functional and perfect sewing for charity project. I hope that you will sew these for those in need, sew them for your local cancer hospitals. People really need these, and they are a simple sewing project. They don't take much fabric, just some fabric and a little bit of thread. So please give these chemotherapy projects a try. They're really worth it, I assure you. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and please, please, please sew for charity. Thank you. Okay, so let's get started. This Chemo Cap is, we're going to start with the straps on this Chemo Cap. As you can see, we have 4 straps that are 1 3/4 inch wide by however long you want your straps. I've made these about 20 inches long, but it's up to you. However long you want to make them is perfectly fine. You will see from the video that we have a pattern, and I will put the link of the pattern in the comments section so you can link to it, download it. It is a free pattern. You will have to tape one bottom piece here to complete the pattern, but otherwise it is complete. There are adult sizes and youth sizes for this pattern, so it is a terrific little pattern to make. It is not difficult, though it seems like it might be. It is really a very simple Chemo Cap pattern to make. So once you download and print the pattern, you are going to cut one size A pattern from your outer fabric, one size A pattern from your lining fabric, one size B pattern from your lining fabric, and one size B pattern from your outer fabric. And then you'll have your 4 straps, as I've stated. And that's all you need for this Chemo Cap pattern to make it perfect for your chemo patient. It is reversible, so pick some fun colors for your patient. It is something fun that you can work with. So the first thing that we are going to do in our pattern is we are going to put together our straps. And the way we're going to do that is we are simply going to take 2 of our straps, place them right sides together, and sew along 3 of the edges using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And we're going to do the same with the other 2, and that's going to create 2 straps for us. So again, right sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance just along 3 of the edges, not all 4, because we're going to want to turn this right sides out. So I'm going to head over to the sewing machine right now, and I'm going to whip around and sew these edges for you, and I'll be right back and we'll go to our next step. Okay, I've gone ahead and stitched both of my straps right sides together, 1/4 inch seam allowance. I have turned them and pressed them. So we have what are straps for our Chemo Cap. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take our B pattern piece, which we cut on the fold. So we have a long piece with 2 tabs on the end. I'm going to return to our pattern piece, and you will notice on the pattern piece there is a tab on each end and a black dot. I'm just going to transfer that black dot marking, which happens to be right on the corner of the tab, and I'm going to use my Friction heat erasable pen, and I'm just going to put the dot right here so that we have that marking. And I'm going to repeat that process on the other end. And I know that my dot is right there, so I know what to do. Now I'm going to take my B piece, pattern piece, I'm going to take my strap piece, I'm going to place it on the tab, right here in the middle, on both ends. And I'm going to stitch these straps using a 1/4 inch seam allowance right across the edge, if you can see that, right across this edge on both ends, so that the straps are sewn to the B pattern piece. So I'm going to run over to the sewing machine and sew those on, and I'll show you what that looks like. Now we're back and we have our straps sewn to our part B pattern piece. I'm just going to clip off some of these threads. And our next step is to take our part A pattern piece, which is the one that looks like a head. And we are going to go back to our pattern piece and transfer the dots, the large dots, from the pattern piece to our fabric. And I'm going to again use our Friction heat erasable pens, and I'm just going to put a dot here and a dot here, and there's a center marking right here at the top, so I'm going to put that there as well. Now our next step is going to be to combine our A piece and our B piece together so it starts to look like a cap. So in this instance, we are going to place our pieces right sides together, and we are going to match the dots on the part B piece with the dots on the part A piece, or the head piece, and then we are going to pin these pieces right sides together all the way around. Now you'll be able to match the centers fairly easy because this part B piece was cut on the fold. So you'll be able to see that fold line and match it right directly on that center marking that you made on the center of the cap. And then you'll be able to easily pin these so that they're nice and even, right sides together all the way around. Now, before we stitch these together, we want to make sure that our straps are actually on the inside of our cap, because we don't want to have them hanging out. So we are going to push those inside. We're going to head over to the sewing machine. We're going to take a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and as you can see, all of these seams line up perfectly, and we're going to stitch all the way around. I'm going to go to the sewing machine and do that, and we're going to come back and I will show you what that looks like. Okay, now we are back, and now our Chemo Cap is starting to look like a cap. As you can see, we have completed our outer part of our cap and our straps exactly the way we want it to look. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to create a lining cap exactly the same way that we created our outer cap, using the part A and part B piece without the straps. So we are going to pin our part B to our part A so that it looks like a cap. We are simply going to sew them together using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to head over to the sewing machine and do that, and I'll be right back to show you the next step. Okay, we have now finished our lining cap, and it's time for us to merge our two caps together. And the way we are going to do that is we are going to take our outer cap and place it inside of our lining cap so that they are right sides together. So our outer cap is right sides out, our inner cap is still wrong sides out, but when we put them together, they are right sides together, and we are going to match these. You can see the fold. That's the easiest way. Just match these fold lines and pin. And we are going to pin all the way around the brim of our cap. Now you can put as many pins as you think you need. Now once again, we need to make sure that our ties are on the inside of our cap. Otherwise, they will not be on the outside of our cap when we actually sew them to, when we turn this right sides out. So we want to make sure that those are the way that they need to be. So here we go. We are going to pin these all the way around so that they are the right way. I'm just going to use a few pins here, making sure that everything is lined up, which it is. And we are going to leave this bottom part open because that's the way we are going to turn our cap right sides out. So we are going to head over to the sewing machine, and we are just going to stitch this outer edge, which is the brim of our cap, all the way around using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to head over to the sewing machine. I'm going to take care of that. I'll be right back. Okay, our two caps are now sewn together, and we are going to turn them right sides out through the hole at the bottom. And you can see that our straps are coming out, and our two caps are merged together as they should be. And you can push the lining cap inside of the outer cap. And we have a Chemo Cap, but we're not quite finished yet. So we have two little things to take care of. What I like to do is top stitch along the brim of the cap for a nice finished look. The other thing that we need to do is finish off these raw edges. And how are we going to do that? Well, the best thing to do is we're going to fold these edges so that they look like a seam, just like the seam. Just fold them under, just like this, and you can machine sew it if you like, or what I prefer to do is use ladder stitch. And ladder stitch is also called invisible stitch, and it's a hand stitch that if you go on YouTube you can learn how to do it. I'm not going to show you how to do it here because it takes a little bit of time, but you can also just fold these edges over and just stitch along with your machine and sew these edges closed with no problem at all. I just like the look of ladder stitch because it doesn't show, but I'm gonna head over and just use the machine for now to finish this cap off to show you what it looks like. And I'm gonna top stitch along the top of this all the way around. What you're gonna do is make sure that these edges are nice and crisp, so press the edges with an iron, top stitch all the way around, fold under these raw edges and stitch them closed, and we will finish our chemo cap. So I will do those things, come over and show you what it looks like. Okay everybody, so we are done with our chemo cap. I have top stitched along the brim of our chemo cap, and I have sewn with our sewing machine the raw edges so that they are turned under and nice and neat, and our chemo cap is done. How fabulous is that? A nice and simple, easy to do, quick chemo cap for all of those chemotherapy patients out there who need them. Please, please, please sew for charity when you get a chance. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a terrific project to make, especially for a beginner sewist. I did a little bit of a trick here if you're just a beginner sewist. Because my lining is pink and my outer fabric is white, I put white in the top of my machine and pink in my bobbin so that I would have white on the top and pink on the bottom. That way it doesn't show pink on the top, and which is what I wanted. Nice and neat. So please everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. And if you would like more videos, again, subscribe to my channel. If you want more sewing tutorials, there is a pictorial tutorial, if you will, of this project over at sewverycrafty.com. So head over there for many, many more sewing tutorials, nice, fun, simple projects for beginner and intermediate sewists. So again, subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up. Thank you very much. And goodbye.